Welcome to Rauta's ED5. This time it's a Putrid Cult label special because indeed what I have here is 5 different older releases from Putrid Cult. These are all quite old, at least like 2016 to 2019, roughly that. And the styles we have here today is black metal, doom death, death black and that kind of stuff. 3 bands from Poland. The very same country as the label is from, one from Belarus and one from New Zealand. Let's go in alphabetical order, these 5 different releases. First one here is Annihilation Vortex with Nihilistic Spheres, a debut album. This is a 5-piece band that is playing kind of a death metal the old school ways. Nothing here really stands out. These guys are trying to do kind of a dark death metal in American counterparts, think like Incantation, Immolation, whatever. And the thing here is, this is the kind of a first demo kind of approach. I mean, you have all the ingredients right there, you pretty much have figured out what to do, but you're not exactly able to nail it. That is, everything here is more like, yeah, heard it a million times before and everything like that. Nothing is outright wrong, but this is one of those bands that kind of falls between the extremities in so many ways. First of all, there's nothing really catchy, nothing really memorable, nothing that really stands out. It's not bad, it's not really good. It's just one of those, yeah, I can totally listen to it and then you forget it and move on. If you're a big fan of the given style, then I think it's worth giving a shot, but just don't expect too much and it's okay to go. Then we have this band called Eel Surgery. This one is MCD. And it's a one-man project, to be honest. The thing here is, this is 21 minutes or so of very simple, very basic riffs. Even more like going back to basics than Annihilation Vortex. As you can see, this is only 1 track. And it's everything, so it's more like MCD that starts with a kind of a ceremonial intro, very forgettable, like you want to kind of skip it after a while, but you really can, because, well, 1 track. I mean, of course you could fast forward, but it's not really the same as skipping a track. But everything that happens after that is more like, okay, I got the idea, I heard it since 90s, basically. And you have those ideas. This is more on the blacker side. This is more on the death metal side. Nothing is like, wow. It's very mediocre, very lukewarm experience. Nothing is outright bad, but it's more like, yeah, is this your first demo once again? So, once again, having those same ideas with Annihilation Vortex, but not as good as that. So, more like a wasted opportunity, if you ask me. Now, the highlight of this pile is a band called Nagwal. It seems this is no longer existing. I don't know what happened to the band, but whatever it did, it's not here anymore. But this is worth taking a look. It's melodic black metal with a lot of melancholy in there. One could say there is a kind of a Nordic vibe to it because of that. Now, these melodies are quite good and catchy. They could be even better though. But the overall feeling is like, yeah, this is somewhat enjoyable to listen to. First of all, the melancholy is right there to kind of creep in and make this album like, okay, this could really be something that would be like over time, polished and going through their musical evolution. But it's already showing a lot of potential here, so it's kind of a wasted opportunity to lose this kind of a band, whatever happened to it. MCD in length, and definitely worth giving a shot, even if not great release, but something that makes this so enjoyable. Now, the worst of this pile, then again, is this one, Nekkrofukk. Lots of K's here, Deny the Image of God. This is, technically speaking, a compilation of the band's 2 first EPs. Or Band and Band, it seems like this is a one-man project that is just there to certain kind of a therapy project with other bands. I don't know. Usually when there are lots of, you know, those solo black metal bands, so-called, you know, bedroom black metal styles, the thing here is they are usually like, okay, not really putting too much effort. That's how it seems, or not being overly critical of their own material, more like quantity or quality, basically. And unfortunately, this is one of those releases. First, feels like it's 2 demos put into one, and even though it's only 40 minutes in total, it feels like a drag show. None of these riffs, none of these songs, none of the vocals are really good. It's more like, yeah, is this really your first band and you're now executing very, very boring riffs with somewhat mushy and kind of a weak production? I mean, I kind of get it if it's for your first EP and all that you don't necessarily have the studio budget or skill set to go with the equipment and all, but feels like a drag show. Unless you're a really sucker for some C-level black metal and with death metal parts and kind of a B-class growly vocals, don't go for that. It's the worst of this pile. And the last, almost also the least, is Sinister Stabilis from New Zealand. Now also ceased to exist level band. When this is called, well, Total Doom / Desecration. This band, before it quit, used to be a one-man project, but on this first album, there is actually 4-man lineup. It's divided into 2 different parts. Desecration having actually a lot of songs here, and Doom having this other amount of songs, resulting more than 67 minutes of music. And the style is basically Doom death. Now take that Doom more like funeral Doom. Very slow parts where nothing is really happening and everything seems like an endless queue, a lot of waiting. There are literally parts where nothing is really happening. It's just like putting these silence parts here, much like the first Typo Negative album. But there it works like a joke and there's more versatility, whereas this is just like the Doom death stuff. Now, if this had come out some 30 years ago when the band was basically formed, around 1991, this could have been something like, wow, these guys are breaking boundaries. These death metal riffs are like, yeah, I get it. It's kind of a brutal and evil, and there's a lot of darkness in this album, mind you. That is a great part of this, especially when there's a lot of effects going on, not so much riffs, and it's almost all like into ambience. Then it's like, yeah, this is going someplace. But when those guitars take place, it's like, yeah, you're having riffs from 1988 or 1991 or something like that. And that's when nothing is really happening. Now, there are a little bit faster parts, maybe something that you could call mid-tempo parts. And it's almost like the band's engine is going started, and then it all together slows down back to these Doom death things. Now, never been a big fan of funeral Doom or any kind of Doom, but I mean there are bands doing funeral Doom which actually have this really oppressive atmosphere, and this is lacking it. So neither it's nailing with the death metal riffs nor the Doom atmosphere, but it's not outright bad. It's more like fucking boring of an album, especially when 67 minutes. Now, if this had been cut into half, maybe, removing a lot of those boring riffs, making this some 30 minutes of an album, I think it could have been more that momentum the album would need. But with this kind of a weak production and kind of a bore-fest riffs, I can't really recommend this unless you're a sucker for funeral Doom death kind of a style. So very marginal. Now, of all these 5, I would say the only decent one, which I'm really liking, is this Nagwal one, and the least one is this Nekkrofukk. So, there you have it. Links are provided in the description box. You decide whether or not these are worth listening to. This is Rauta. Take care and seeing more reviews coming away.